Hi, good evening, everyone. Here at coming from sunny coastal southern Delaware. Welcome once again to the Thursday 5 o'clock Club. Again, my name is John Bandish. I'm one of the board members here with the American Artist Professional League. We're going to come to you every Thursday afternoon, evening at 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're going to just kind of pause on any Apple stuff and just on a real personal thing. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. As Jimmy would say, here's to you. So this is a little wink and a nod to you, Jimmy. I've been a big Jimmy Buffett fan for a very long time, and super excited about having Gayle come on, and where we get to talk to you, our members of the American Artist Professional League, and we get to talk with one another and share our artistic and creative journeys. And hi, Gayle. Welcome to the Thursday 5 o'clock Club here. I'm coming to you from sunny coastal Delaware. Hi there. Can you hear us okay? Gayle, can you hear us okay? We're seeing everybody that's joining in here live, again, coming from sunny coastal southern Delaware. Gayle, you are live with us here. Again, welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, but I can't see you. I can only see myself. Am I supposed to be able to see you?
You should be able to see it. I have a split screen here. I'm not sure, technologically speaking, I'm not the most tech savvy person. Instagram's supposed to
Yeah, we're all. Okay, well, I'll just pretend I'm talking to you. It's
okay,
good,
fantastic.
Good to meet you.
Well, hi, Gayle. Welcome. It's nice to meet you. Put a face to a name. What's one of the great parts about being a part of this organization is that we are all around the country. We're not located to East Coast, West Coast, a particular city, although we are based out of New York City. But
yeah.
we're people from all over the country that are represented. Where are you hailing from?
Well, I'm originally from Montana. I was born just off the Canadian border in Montana, but grew up in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah. From there, I moved to Boston, where I did illustration for the Boston Globe and for some of the publications in New York.
Oh, wow.
And when I decided that I didn't want to do illustration anymore, I figured I'd split the difference and move to Tennessee.
Oh, well, so you've definitely been a traveler of this entire great country that we have. That's fantastic.
I've kind of been all over, but I've been in Tennessee for the last 20 years, and I like it a whole lot.
Oh, that's fantastic. What's something that you like a lot about Tennessee that has made you say 20 years I'm here?
Yeah, I like the fact that it doesn't have a long winter. I tell you, being from Montana and then living in Massachusetts, you get tired of winter. At least I did. My mother loves the snow, and it's always like all the snow, but not me. I got tired of scraping my windshield, all those things.
Well, that's two of us. I'm wearing a nice Tommy Bahama Hawaiian shirt. Again, in honor of Jimmy Buffett. I've called myself the Jimmy Buffett of seascapes for a while. So talking about not liking winters and wanting to get away from the snow,
yeah.
Believe me, that's why I tried to go as far south as my wife would let me.
Far south as you could get. Yeah, and I was hearing you talking about Jimmy Buffett. Our honeymoon, my husband and I, on our honeymoon, we went to downtown Nashville, and there was a big Jimmy Buffett special going on. So we had a good time. It was great.
Oh, wow. Well, he has a nice foundation, roots in country music, and he wrote with a lot of those people. Mac McAnally is a Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, and I think he's been, if not Entertainer of the Year, I think he was Songwriter of the Year in Nashville. So there's a nice, strong country music Nashville component that ties with him. So
we're
talking the same language because I'm from Philly, so it's not northern Montana or even Boston, but we would get some pretty cold winters up there in Philly, and I was like, I'm done with the snow.
Oh yeah, you get sick of the whole thing. And another thing that's kind of been interesting to me since I moved to Nashville, I was really surprised to find, I knew it had music, I like music, but I was surprised to find what a really vibrant visual arts scene there is here in Nashville. I met Don Whitelaw and Roger Dale Brown. And,
there. I've heard about a lot of different
galleries. Oh yeah, there's a lot of creativity, and I've been part of a good group of artists since the first few months that I moved here, and it's just been great. We've grown together as artists and supported each other, traveled together. It's been a really good good experience.
That's fantastic. Okay. Well, we're already kind of just talking here. That's really what this, we call this the interview, but this is really just more of a conversation. I send everybody, like I sent you these questions of sort of kind of just talking points. Really, I think the great thing for social media is putting the social back into it, right? And talking to one another. I think it is so amazing. I say this every time. So if you've tuned in the last couple of times, you've heard me say this, I apologize. I'm going to say it again. I just think it's so great that we have these little supercomputers in our pockets and we can talk to anybody from anywhere around, I mean, not just the country, around the world, really. In
Around the world, yeah, it's amazing.
Even some of us older people, I've got enough gray happening in my beard these days. I can call myself older now. I've learned a thing or two that even for us older folks that are not exactly tech savvy, you know, we can figure it out. It's pretty neat. And
well, they've made it a lot more, they've made it a lot more intuitive than it was a while ago.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot of fun to be able to connect with other, especially for us, because we're all very interested in representational realism, traditional, put your spin on it, whatever it is, all of these different types of fine art that sort of revolve in these circles. And I think it's great because we all, for as similar as we have as an interest base, everyone I've talked to, we all have very different backgrounds and experiences. So I don't know, let's start with there, really. Do you want to give us a little bit of background in your artistic journey? Have you always been an artist?
Always.
Did you study fine art?
Yeah, for as long as I can remember, I've been an artist, and it's just, you could say I'm driven to do it, you could say that's my self-concept, but it is what I am. And my parents and grandparents are also artists. My mother studied at Chenard in California, and my dad studied art in college, and my granddad was an immigrant, and at the time that he immigrated, he went to Montana from Europe and worked in northern Montana, where there were still a lot of characters up there in Montana, really cowboys and miners and the cookhouse and all that stuff, and he drew pictures of all those people. And Disney offered him a job because he used to illustrate his envelopes when he would send letters to people, and Disney caught wind of one of his envelopes and offered him a job, but he didn't want to draw Mickey Mouse, He wanted to draw those interesting characters in Montana. So he taught my mother about watching for the color in the shadow of the snow. He took her out walking in the wintertime and said, look at the colors in the shadows. So he taught her that. He taught her perspective, basic proportions of drawings, and my dad learned all that in college. And so I have artwork from both of them in my house, and it has influenced the artwork that I've done. And so then I did private lessons in high school with a woman, Parma Tyson, who was just an amazing teacher. And when I teach, I use a lot of her teaching methods. She was just, a powerful teacher. And then I went to college. I went to a teacher's college in Colorado where they did not teach anybody how to draw or how to use perspective or any of that, because I don't think they knew any of it. And and then I went to DU for a while, Denver University, and studied painting. But then when I went to Massachusetts, it was to get married to a guy from there. And I met Robert Douglas Hunter, and John Traynor took me out painting with him a couple times, and he taught me Frank Mason's color wheel, color circle, color strings, taught me those. I used that box with the strings in it for the next 5 years. I used to drive back and forth across the country because my family was still in the West. And the first half of the trip, I used all the greens in the strings. The second half of the trip, I used all the reds. That's when I really realized what a difference it is, where you're painting. And, that's, those are the people I studied with. They're the people that influenced me. I was teaching in a college in Massachusetts. I won't say the name of the college, but I got in with them because I was supposed to be teaching seniors who were putting together their portfolio, and these seniors still hadn't been taught how to draw. So I talked to the headmaster and we parted ways. That's when I came to Nashville. And at that time I said, I'm going to Nashville. I'm going to teach what people need to know if they want to do realistic art. A lot of people want to do realistic art, but nobody teaches them. And I started an atelier here, the Cumberland Atelier, myself and 3 other artists. But COVID took that out because the place where we were teaching got closed. So now we're all teaching independently online, and it's working out. You know, I'm just so happy for the movement. It's like we're an army of artists getting back to representational drawing and painting, teaching people how to see. The camera sort of, people forgot how to see when they started looking at everything through a lens. And we're trying to reverse that.
Now, have you, so there's no arguing anything that you said. I completely agree. Have you found in your creative journey that times have changed? Because, I mean, even just for me in the last 20 years, thinking back to my undergraduate days, representational, traditional arts were anything but taught. I had to seek out a lot of information on my own. I had specific thoughts and things like that that were just not necessarily, I won't say they were shunned, but they certainly weren't promoted, at least in many of the circles. So is that something that you found?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I parted ways with that teacher. I mean, the headmaster up in New England. It was they didn't believe in teaching drawing. They didn't believe that that was part of what should happen, and they thought I was destroying people's creativity. I argued back that how can you be creative? Like, how can you play the piano if you don't know anything about where your fingers go on the keys, or how to, what sound you're going to get? How can you do that, you know, with the guitar or anything else if you don't know anything about those basics? How can you be creative? And so anyway, we didn't agree. So when I moved here, part of it was because I know that this is a slightly more conservative area than Massachusetts is, and I thought I might have a little better luck with some of the things that interest me. And but another thing that was kind of cool, for a while there, I did an after-school program for children that they considered to be at risk. And I taught them how to draw. By golly, I taught them perspective. I taught them how to get an idea and conceive of that idea and put it out on paper, and they loved it. But it wasn't being taught in the schools, you know.
That's
but
really
now it has changed. Yeah,
do you find
you're
that
right.
to be, I mean, I'll just say that I find that to be horribly problematic, because drawing is the foundation. If you don't have we're using music as an analogy. I'll use home construction. If you do not have a strong foundation, your home is going to crumble, right? What's the old proverb
Exactly.
in the Bible?
Yeah.
It's a foolish
The
man
sand,
who builds
build
his
your
house
house on
upon
the
the
sand.
sand.
Right.
So to me, to not teach it, and one of the fundamentals within drawing is learning about perspective, whether it be single point, double point, triple point, doesn't matter. You know, if you don't have that, you can't do it.
You're really kind of lost. And what I have seen in these last 20 years since I've been here, the Italian movement and the movement in general to strengthen representational drawing and painting, it has really picked up steam. I was one of maybe 2 or 3 people that was teaching that 20 years ago that I knew. And, you know, aside from, you know, the people in the Boston School in New England. But now there are a lot of people that teach that. There's a lot of workshops being offered with that same kind of information. And so I've got a little bit more competition than I used to have. I'm having to up my game.
Oh, that's not a bad thing. Now, do you have any of your own thoughts as to perhaps some of the reasons for why this representational movement has increased over the last 15, 20 odd years? Do you have any perspective on that?
I only have theories. I don't have knowledge, you know. I know that most of the government-run art institutions are sticking with the more edgy, progressive art. They're not interested in any of the older stuff or keeping any of the skills that we developed, you know. So it's pretty much an underground movement still, I think, even though it's a movement among artists. And I think there are a lot of kids that would like to be able to draw. You know, they play computer games, and they'd like to be able to draw some of that stuff, right? I think that has been it's been a part of what's bringing people back into learning this kind of thing. They'd like to be able to visualize a particular monster. They know that that's being done on the computer screen. How can they do it? How can they have something in their house? How can they themselves do this creativity, you know?
So it's almost referring to, in a way, kind of like a secret knowledge, almost, that you know that there's a way to do it, you just don't know how to do it.
Yeah,
So I'll
they're
just
seeing
ask
it,
this
yeah.
to you. I look at things, the world, trends, all of this, sort of like a pendulum, right? A pendulum can swing
Yeah.
back and forth, and as it swings one way, it will surely swing back the other. I look
Yeah.
at this and see, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody's creativity. That's not what I'm interested in. I may not be agreeable to somebody else's work, but I can at least appreciate their creativity, right? But I think a lot
Yeah.
of people see the banana peel on the wall, and then they say,
Yeah.
where do I fit into that? Or how does that relate to me if I want to have art in my home? What are the conversations
Yeah.
that happen? And I'll just say on a personal level, I think that there's just not enough art education in general that's happening in
Yeah.
any school system. That's
Yeah.
a bit of a contentionary point to myself. But so I'll kind of further that secret knowledge and just say I think some of that, coupled with the infamous banana peel on the wall,
Yeah.
it's a perfect storm.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. The experimental art has gone so far. I mean, Dadaism, that was over 100 years ago now, And the fact is, that what was said in Dadaism is still being said. It's just that they're trying to get further and further to insulting their audience, with Dadaism, and at the audience as being insulted. And a lot of times, people for a while they're saying, "Well, I don't understand it. It must be because I'm just not educated enough or smart enough to understand this." But people are now, you know what? I get what you're saying about the banana peel on the wall. I get that you're saying that it's temporal, that the thing will rot, and that we're here for a short period of time, and that death is coming. But okay, so you said that. Is there some other thing that we can do with what's on my wall, or what's in my field of view, or what's in this museum that I paid so much to get here for? I see rotting stuff all the time. I don't need to be reminded of that.
I feel like I'm having the same conversation with you that I have with my friends or my wife, and it's
Yeah,
like I said, that's what's great about this social media, is that we have these similar thoughts and we can sit there and talk through them.
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
maybe one day somebody will get something from one of these conversations. And to that end, I will say from a historical perspective, they say that, one decade is reactionary to the other in art history, and then one century
yeah,
is reactionary to the other. So it would make sense that now, in 20 years into this next 100-year cycle, we're looking at what happened in the 1920s and saying, well, we've been there, done that. Maybe the
and they're
pendulum
done
is
that,
back.
exactly.
So then,
Yeah,
referring to
maybe
history, to kind of segue a little bit here. So we've talked a little bit about some of your influences, where you're from, and sort of what your creative career is like. Has there been any type of any particular art movement or any artists in particular that have been you can look to as being really pointedly influential to you, whether they were American, European, Asian, anything?
yeah, I read that question and I thought about it. Being from the West, Charlie Russell was the artist. You could see his work just about everywhere. You could see his originals in various museums and galleries. And the other Western artists, I greatly admired them. Then moving east, I became quite influenced by Tarbell and Paxton and R.H. Ives Gamble, the Boston school painters. Between the West and the East, Norman Rockwell, you know, these are realists we're talking about. Um, let's see, various realistic painters. Then, as far as the European painters, I'm interested in Caravaggio's work. I'm interested in his weird personality. I do like the Impressionists, the Post-Impressionists. I understand what they were doing, but that's okay. It's like you say, been there, done that, and we don't really need that. I think that's probably a pretty good outline of what I liked. And now I was born with an ability to draw from my family, and they also made it. They encouraged it and made it possible for me to develop that drawing ability as a child. And so since I liked drawing, that's kind of what I appreciated when I saw other people's work. And when I went to college, I did learn the other things, the things about abstract, which has been really important in helping me with composition, painting and composition. I learned color theory in college, and the idea of mixed media and collage. That was all good stuff that I learned in college. It was all good stuff. I'm not going to say it wasn't any good, and I'm not going to say it didn't help me as an artist and as a teacher for that matter. But I went back to what I love, which is I love nature. I love creation. I can't replicate it, but I can love it enough to try. And what I really want to do, and what I've been doing, is creating beauty that would touch other people's heart. I want it to touch their heart. And then when they take it home, when they look at it, it touches their heart at home and gives them joy. And that's to me, that's what my art is about.
Well, we're definitely made from the same kind of kin cloth, if you will, because I don't think I could have said any of my intentions any better than that. It's
Yeah, I
especially
think
if somebody from a
a lot
place.
of us feel that way.
Well, and it's a great sentiment in the thought of I was fortunate enough to have an experience where somebody bought a painting from me who had never been to the ocean. They grew up in the Midwest. They just
Yeah.
never had a chance to vacation anywhere where they could go to the beach. And it just sort of happened that I was doing an art show in a beach town, and I always try to have kind of a different range of work when you go to a show. If anything, any outdoor fine art festivals to me are marketing events. You hope to make some money, but you're also hoping to just maybe have some potential buyers come and see you, and then want to have a studio visit. That. And this person has said, I've never seen the ocean. This makes me remember what it felt like to put my toes in the sand and to hear the waves crash and to see all of the wondrous of nature that happens. So you're talking something that is very, this is what I like about doing this. This is great. This is just so much fun. In a selfish sense, it's great for me because I'm over here talking with somebody of you wonderfully talented artists that I can't help but just be inspired, just saying, oh wow, you feel the same way. That's really inspired. Cool. So
that's awesome. Yeah,
talking about
that's awesome.
Some of these other questions as far as any, referring to any artists or movements that you like, is there something that you've done so far that you could say this is the biggest accomplishment that I've done so far? And then I guess kind of furthering that, this is one of my favorite questions to ask is, have you created anything that you refuse to sell? This is yours and you don't want to put it out there just yet.
Yep. I think that as a person, my greatest accomplishment has been to raise another generation of artists. Both my children and grandchildren are also interested in art, and which makes me very happy. As a teacher, my greatest accomplishment has been to put together a set of video lessons under Learn and Master, and those have been marketed worldwide. So people all over the world have learned from. This was something where I did every step that I knew. It was basically a brain dump of everything I knew about foundational drawing and painting and composition and color theory and brushwork and everything in this big, long video set, which was marketed worldwide. Still is being marketed worldwide. And a lot of the people from other places, other countries have written to me, are interested in taking my online classes now since they can, And that was the biggest. It was a year in the making. It was the biggest single thing I've done. As far as paintings that I don't want to get rid of, I've got 2 paintings of my daughters that and of my grandchildren that I am keeping. Those are for me.
First off, my hat's off to you, because if you've never tried to be an instructor or a teacher in any way, you just do not understand how difficult a task that is, right? It's easy to have the knowledge. It's much more difficult to try to impart that knowledge, especially if it's rather complicated. And traditional art, in whatever sort of guise that you're using it, has a lot of difficulty, mastering. The guise is that it looks easy, right? But anything that looks easy is usually much more difficult to pull off. So my hat is off to you in the sense that having that kind of success in teaching is fantastic, because again, if we are the ones that have the knowledge and we don't pass it on, who's after us that has it,
It takes one generation to lose everything.
Yeah, and in that sense,
it really does. And that 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 years of knowledge can be lost in one generation.
And that's a truly terrifying thought when it comes to it. Right?
It is.
It's a whole other dark ages that we would be in. So
I know.
So talking now, kind of going from the past to the future, you talked about these amazing accomplishments you had. What are some of your goals for the future?
Right now, I'm working hard on all new art for our solo exhibit. I'm going to give you the information about that right now because I want you to have it. It's at the Quinlan Art Center in Gainesville, Georgia, 514 Green Street. And the show is December 14th. I mean, the opening reception for the show. The show goes all the way through December and January. And then in mid-February, I'm giving a workshop, February 16th, 17th, and 18th, at the same location. And that was my plug. So I'm done with that part. But that's what I'm working on right now. It's getting all new work. I want all new art for that show. Partly because I'm kind of working in a new way. A lot of landscape, or before I've had quite a bit of still life, and now I'm more working in landscape, and I'm also doing landscapes of that area because I've spent some time there, and I love that area, and I'm there. It's all new work for that show. So I hope somebody who's listening to this gets a bee in their bonnet and comes to the show and comes to the workshop.
Well, we've got people in the comment section, which, by the way, I'm seeing all of you saying, commenting, waving, saying hello, all the different people that are joining in. I have
That's
Kay
awesome.
Werner saying, or KC, I can't see the name correctly. I don't want to mispronounce anything, but saying Gainesville with a question mark.
Okay.
Yes, Gainesville, Georgia, right?
Gainesville, Georgia. Yeah, just north of Atlanta.
There we go. So if you're anywhere in that part of the country, and that sort of Georgia, what's that, South Carolina, Tennessee, anywhere in that sort of general part of the country, and you're looking for something to do, December, what was the date? December
14th is the opening reception.
December
The show goes all the way
14th, the
through
opening
December and
reception. So
January.
you don't even have to worry about your holiday parties. You can sit there and go to that. So I see you saying you're in Gainesville, Florida. Well, that's just a little drive.
No,
We can totally
don't
make
go to the
that
wrong
happen. So that's fantastic. So this is I think perhaps maybe my favorite question to ask people in the Instagram interviews, whenever I'm just hanging out for a drink with the friends. I absolutely love to listen to people, their responses to this.
Okay.
If you could meet, and forget any language barriers, forget anything like that, right? This is all sort of hypothetical. But if you could meet and have a cup of coffee, have dinner, have a drink with anyone from art history, anybody throughout all the ages of art history, who would it be and why?
Well, my husband wants me to say the guy who invented the camera because he's made it so artists can't see. But the person, he's heard my rant often enough. But anyway, the person that I really would be interested in probably would be having a drink with him would be Caravaggio, because I've just got to know where his head was.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What was he thinking?
I'll tell you a funny Caravaggio anecdotal story from my own personal life. My alma mater, Temple University, I'm going to plug Temple University, Philadelphia, PA, my hometown. They have campuses around the world. One of them is in Rome, so that's one of the reasons why I went there for my undergraduate. So I got a chance to do that.
Nice.
In a part of Rome, there's a place called the Piazza Santa Maria del Popolo. There are 6 chiesas, 6 churches that are in this square. It's a giant square. It's right where one of the old portas, one of the old gates to the old Rome was. Anyways, in one of these churches hangs the Caravaggio. It was installed there, and it was hung there ever since it was. As we're walking through this church in a tour, I picked up on it, and I went, that can't be the real one. I was like, I don't remember if this is where it was, but I recognized the painting. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and I must have had a look on my face, on our tour guide in her very heavy Italian accent went, oh yeah, see, that's the Caravaggio. And then I sat there and I looked at it.
I love the pronunciation. You did it perfectly.
Well, I lived there for a little while. I used to be able to speak Italian a lot better than I can now. But and I sat there and I went, it's so amazing. You just brushed it off like, oh yeah, there's a Caravaggio just over there hanging.
Oh man.
Just one of the most amazing Italian painters. It's just like, there it was. You had to
incredible. Yeah, incredible.
So I guess my second most favorite question really to ask kind of is in tandem with that is, if you could own any one piece of art from all of art history, is there one piece that you can definitively say, I want that in my house and I want it?
Well, to have this piece of art that I want, I'd have to have a different house. So that's going to be, price is no object at all. I'd like to have Michelangelo's Pieta.
Oh.
We're still in Italy here.
I was about to say that's right. That's right when you walk into San Pietro. It's standing
When
right there on the
I saw
corner.
that, I just started to cry.
Oh my goodness! So, I had a very similar experience in the Uffizi in Florence with Botticelli's Birth of Venus. So we're keeping it with all the Italians. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So all
Yeah.
the Italian friends from South Philly and all the Italians that we have, Italian American from wherever you're at in the country, hats off to you. Okay, so
It's amazing.
um, this has been a lot of fun. I try to keep these between 25 and 30 minutes. It's just something where it's
Yeah.
not too long for everybody because this is going to stay up on our social media page. I am doing my best, everybody, to figure out how I can share it with you so you can put it on your social media page for your followers. I'm not the most tech savvy person, but we're doing our best to learn. I think we figured it out before, so should be able to have that so you can put it on your social media. So we'll kind of just stop here. So you want to plug your shows?
Good to talk to you.
It was my pleasure.
This was
You've already
great.
plugged your shows. If you want to go ahead and plug it one more time and then tell everybody if they can't make it to Gainesville, Georgia, Gainesville, Florida. If you can't make it to Gainesville, Georgia on December 14th for your solo show, where else can people see your work? Do you have any other shows that are happening right now, maybe? And then again,
You can see my work in New England at Powers Gallery, just north of Boston, and at Bayview Gallery in Maine, Brunswick, Maine. And if you're in the Central South, you can see it in Nashville at Richland Gallery, or in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at Church Street Gallery.
Got it. And if they can't make it to any of those places, they can go to your website or they can go to your social media.
Yeah, my website. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. My website is GayleLevee.com.
All right. So if you can't make it to any of those particular places, you can't make it to her opening reception in Gainesville, Georgia on December 14th, you can go to her website. You can go here on the Apple website. You can check out all the links to the bios here. You can see work through there. And again, thank you very much. It was my pleasure to have you on this Thursday. And again, thank you very much for coming in and talking with us and for doing everything that you do to help support and promote representational and realism art. And that's what we do here at the American Artist Professional League.
Back at you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and an honor to have been included in this.
Thank you very much. We'll see you
later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.